What's the connection point between all parts of reality? This is Jewish Life 101. Welcome to Jewish Life 101, the podcast where we tackle any topic from a Jewish perspective, from the way that a Jew would look at it. Today's topic is waking up. This is the sixth and final part of our series about waking up. Hope you were able to follow along till now. Until now, we have first brought four explanations, brought a fifth explanation, re-explained our explanations, and now we're going to say a connecting point between all four of our explanations. And through this, we will bring the general point that these explanations are trying to bring throughout our day to empower our day. Before we start, I'd like to remind everyone that you don't need any background information to listen to this podcast. Anything that we state from this episode, we will state that we either said it in a different episode or that we will say it in a different episode. For this series specifically, for this episode specifically, this is the final, and this is almost like a summary episode of the series, so you're going to have to listen to the previous episodes. If this is your first time on a podcast, you could jump around, find a different episode. There are many standalone episodes. Let's get started. As an introduction to explaining the connecting point between our four explanations, how they are re-explained, we're going to bring in a concept that the essence of the soul is connected to the essence of God. So it has the perspective of the essence of God. What's the difference between an essence of something and expressions of something? You can't be necessarily happy and sad, or at least they themselves, the concept of happy and sad from their own concepts cannot happen at the same time. You can't be angry at someone and satisfied with him at the same time from those emotions themselves. So too, you cannot be thinking logically about something while having extreme emotions about it at the same time from their own concepts. They are concepts not related to each other. The essence, on the other hand, can have both these concepts come out of it. The soul gives all these energies, all these abilities into the person, and multiple of them can happen from the same soul. Why? Because the essence is not trying to express something specific. If you're trying to express something specific, let's say you're trying to express joy, something that's not expressing you cannot do. You have to express your concept. That's your point. The concept of an essence is not a specific expression. It just is. It doesn't have specific modes or limitations. It doesn't have certain details. It's the essence of something. Therefore, from it can come two concepts which they themselves might not work together, but the essence can have both of them come out of it. And our concept, that's going to be that all our four explanations have the concept that there are details. Details of concepts, of things, of beings that are individual, that have their own personality and seem to be separate from God. But at the same time, godliness is infused in them. Godliness is a part of them. Godliness is united with them, is unified with them. This is in all four of our categories of number one, on spiritual levels. Number two, in God's commandments. Number three, in creation. And number four, in a day-to-day life of a person and his concept of living. In our first of these four categories, in the concept of spiritual levels. In our last episode on this series, we explained that there are two spiritual levels which have two opposite concepts. There's the one of kingship, which is relatable to our world, and there's one of connection, which is non-relatable to our world. The level of kingship, as we explained in the last episode, from the level of kingship, the details of our world are important. It gives it a certain self-existence, you need to fit to its limitations. Not so, the level that is higher than the world, that higher than our limitations, only sees us as a way of expression of God's will. That's the two opposite concepts. So from that level, from connection, that it's just an expression of God's will, the details don't matter. Something, let's say, miraculous. A miraculous thing happens from this level, which it doesn't make a difference if the concept of a chair is to stay how it is. The chair can change according to this higher level because its limitations of being a solid thing, four legs. If you sit on, you don't go through it. That are its details. It doesn't care about its details. It cares about what God wants. Right now, God wants it to be like that. That's the reason why it's like that. If God wanted it to collapse or for someone to sink through if they sat in, then that's what would happen. But we explained that the creation of the world comes from a connection to these two levels. From a level that recognizes our details and from a level that recognizes that really it's all the will of God. The outcome of this is that the lower level, the level that respects our details, that sees us as independent beings, recognizes that the reason why we're independent beings is because God wants that. Is because God has a will for us to exist as independent beings. That's the reason why. So there's a connection of the two concepts. There's a connection of us with our details, with God himself in that. Unify with that because we are an expression, we are a part of God's will. Even in the way that we are, even in the way that the level of godliness that creates us sees us. The second concept, the concept of God's commandments. We explained that God's commandments, some of them are logical, but what they really are at the end of the day is God wants you to do this. That's why it's a commandment from God. The fact that it's logical is only because God wants you to understand it. Only because God wants you to connect to it on your own level. And therefore we say that even God's commandments you see as something of its independent existence, something that fits in logic, that you should be doing, even if it wasn't a commandment. But really its whole existence, what it really is permeated, is unified with God's will. It's unified with the will of God, meaning, and when you do God's will, you're unified with God himself. And our third level, in creation, we explained, only recognizes what's in creation. It does not recognize whatever there was before creation. It cannot recognize the process, therefore, of being created. Something being created from nothing, our world being just made like that, it cannot recognize because it was made. It cannot recognize before being made. It cannot recognize as a space of nothing. You cannot picture nothing. Nothing in this universe can ever picture nothing. Nevertheless, in that world, in that limited world, which cannot recognize the existence of there being absolutely nothing, in that God made an expression. God made something which shows that creation every single day, which is the concept of starting a new day. That again is the unification of our world with our limitations with a concept that is much above us. The concept of the world being created. A concept that we cannot handle. Why can we handle it? Because God himself put that concept in our world. And our fourth or final explanation. Our fourth and final explanation, which was really, we started off as our first explanation originally, is that a person himself, he's living his life, he's living how he is, but he recognizes that what am I? Who am I? I'm the Jewish part of me. What am I thanking God? Not for living, but for living as a Jew. Because my entire life is not independent. Even though it feels independent, even though it's my life, what is my life? Being a Jew. What is being a Jew? Expressing and drawing down godliness into this world. So it recognizes that really I am only God, only godliness. That is the only existence in me that is important. And that I do not exist. I am nothing if I am a separate being from God. So the unifying point between these four explanations are, they recognize that they're not an existence separate from God. They exist with their details. They have their own concept. But those concepts are unified with God. This leads back to our explanation that it comes from the essence of the soul. The essence of the soul has this view. The essence of the soul sees that the details of every single thing around it are really only God. It sees things from God's perspective, which it sees that everything below God himself is lowly and nothing if not that God is in it. It cannot exist as a separate being from God's unity. The lesson we can learn from this, the fact that it's a pillar of our day, like he said, we say it first thing in the morning, because it's a pillar and foundation for our entire day, is that even the mundane things, even the things which seem to be their own existence, are really permeated with godliness. Our job is to interact with them how God wants, to show that really they exist in a revealed way, as God's will. It's to reveal that godliness in them. To show that it fits in a world run by God. And we know we can do this because really what is it? It's really that level of godliness. And we know that it is already unified with God and is already unified with his will. So it's really not changing when we do the right thing with it. It is really bringing out what it really is. And that exists in every single thing around us. We can do the right thing, and it's not impossible. It is possible to do the right thing with every single thing around us, with every single thing in our life, to bring out the godliness, to bring out the good, to bring out the infinity that exists within it. Let's summarize this series. We brought 4 explanations on the sentence that we say when we wake up every single day. The first of those 4 explanations was that I appreciate my existence as living, and I need to thank God for that. Every single thing that we appreciate, that we enjoy in life, we have to thank God for. So the first thing is, I am thanking God for that enjoyment. The second thing was that sleeping is considered in Judaism 1/60th of death. Their soul leaves them, and they're immobile to a certain extent. Therefore, it is a hints to the upcoming resurrection. Just like we have a mini resurrection, 1/60th of it every single day, so too we'll have in the upcoming resurrection, and therefore it is not so hard to look forward to. The third explanation was that we are giving our soul to God when we go to sleep as something to watch over. And since even though we owe our entire lives to God, and therefore we have some sort of debt to God, he does not keep our soul to repay the debt. Rather, he gives it back because we entrusted it with him. So too, we should do the same thing. If someone owes us something, we should still give back something that they asked us to watch for them. And the fourth and final explanation that we had was that the world comes from a connection of two levels called connection and kingship. And from the connection of those two things, that is how our soul comes back down into us every single day. Then we brought a fifth explanation, a foundational explanation, that this sentence we say every single morning comes from the essence of the soul. Because this sentence is something we're saying towards God before our logic is really used, before our emotions are really used. It's the first thing we say in the day. And the only part of us which is active that could say anything at that part of the day with meaning it is the essence of us. Through that, we're able to re-explain the other four explanations. The first explanation, we're not just thinking the God that we are living, that he gave back life, but we're giving back our life. What is our life? A Jewish life. We explained that from the perspective of the essence of the soul of a Jew, although a non-Jew has an amazing life and has specific things in his life that he could do for God, and although his life is not bad, it is good, it is precious, but a Jew, from his perspective, sees on his life that he should only be living as a Jew, and that the only thing appreciable in his life is his Judaism. Our second explanation was that we give our soul as something for God to watch over it. We explained that it can't just be the fact that we gave it to God to watch over it and gave it back even though we own something to him, because if someone owes something to you, then there's no reason to give it back. The whole reason why if someone gives you something to watch, you should give it back is because it belongs to him. But if he owes me something, it really should belong to me. I should be collecting money from him. The money's real place is by me. Therefore, we explained that it's not only the commandments of God are not only logical. Yes, there could be logical, but really it's the will of God. Even the fact that it's logical is only because that's what God wants. Our third explanation, how it was re-explained, is that really the resurrection is not so shown through us sleeping. Number one, it's only 1/60th. And number two, over here, our soul is not changing in any way. Our body is not changing in any way. When we're resurrected, our soul changes and our body changes. They are remade. So therefore, we explained that waking up shows on the concept of being remade. Why? Because the world is remade in every single second. And that is brought out through the second that we wake up, because then it's as if it feels like the world was remade. It expresses that concept through the sun coming up and the world being reactivated, so to speak. And our personal lives, we start a new day, a new period of our lives. Our fourth and final explanation was these two levels of connection and kingship. Kingship recognizes the details of our world, and connection sees that the details of our world are unimportant. Our world exists as the receiving end of whatever godliness wants to give. So their details don't matter. Their details are nothing. It's unimportant. Their entire existence is an acceptance of what God wants to give. And we explained that it comes from connection to these two things. They exist as an independent being, but it recognizes that the whole reason why it exists as an independent being, and what it does is expressing godliness within its details. And then we explained that all four of these points are bringing out the same one thing that the essence of our soul recognizes. That everything that exists with its own details, that exists with something that seems outside of God, is really unified with God, is really one with God. The way that they exist, they really do exist like that. But the reason why is because that's what God wants. But all that does is show us something amazing. That the finite beings, the finite things, really have an infinity inside of them. Really, things that may look like they're not good have good inside of them. Thank you for joining us. This is Jewish Life 101, and I wish you an amazing, wonderful rest of your day. Did you enjoy today's episode? Feel free to share with a friend. Here at Jewish Life 101, we spend many hours on every single episode, and it's all with your support. Just click the link in the description to find out more, and we'll see you next time on Jewish Life 101.